So I parked in my old building's parking lot.
Ah. Is that your school ring?
Yes, this is
From where?
Naval Academy.
The only military ring, a related ring I had, somehow got lost in the shuffle. It was the Army recruiter's ring that the top recruiters get.
Oh, okay.
It's the highest.
Hello, Las Vegas. This is Rolando Larraz with Face the Tribune. As I always said, if you got nothing to hide, you can face the Tribune. With me today, I got the honor of having Attorney Greg Mueller, a local attorney of great prestige and well respected in the community, in both the legal community and the community as a whole. And Maramis, as every Friday, Maramis is the co-host. Ed Yuling is missing in action, but I'm sure he's going to be here. But Greg Mueller is the attorney for North Las Vegas Municipal Court Judge Catherine Ramsey, which she is been a target of a group of corrupted people that are trying to use uh, her as a target for their own benefits. And I'm not going to start talking about anything because we wanted to hear what Craig Mueller has to do. Craig, welcome.
Oh, thank you. It's good to be here.
Okay, you met Maramis already?
Yes.
Yes, we met.
Okay, and you are representing Catherine Ramsey, the
Yes,
North Las Vegas Justice Municipal Court.
Municipal Court Judge.
And do you knew her before she hired you, or?
Actually, my acquaintance with Judge Ramsey has mostly been formal. I actually handled a murder case against her. She prosecuted the client, and I was the defense attorney. And so we had to, that's actually how I got to know her professionally. And of course, Las Vegas is still a small town, so I bumped into her once or twice socially.
She was a prosecutor before she was a judge?
Yes, she was a prosecutor, and then she was a civil litigator in a large law firm for a number of years before she went to the DA's office.
Oh.
So she's got a varied career, which makes her a very good judge.
So that speaks largely of you by having your opposition hiring you to defend her now, eh?
Well, thank you. I take it as a compliment, but I wish the allegations here weren't and the legal issues weren't so serious. Otherwise, it would be a real compliment.
Okay, can you talk a little bit about, I don't know how much you can talk in an open case, but...
Well, I can. The issues presented, I've gone out of my way here. I went ahead and made a complete copy for you of the two lawsuits that we have filed on behalf of Judge Ramsey. Now, at the heart of the issue here is the very American principle of judicial integrity and judicial independence. By law, every incorporated municipality in the state of Nevada has to have at least one judge, and they have to they have to sit at least one day, I think 6 months or a year. North Las Vegas has two judges. They have the jurisdiction to enforce the municipal ordinances and state misdemeanors inside the jurisdiction of the city. They have also some very limited civil authority, but mostly it's a criminal court. This is a particularly concerning proposition here. Judge Ramsey is a sophisticated judge. She came back or comes to law with the idea that everything should be done properly. And she went over to and took the bench in North Las Vegas.
That's a new concept in Las Vegas, don't you think?
That everything should be done right?
Yes.
And she unfortunately apparently rubbed the feathers. And I want to say this very seriously because we'll go through the issue here. But at issue here is the attack on the judiciary. This is the most unsettling sort of thing. We have to have, in a society of laws, we have to have a completely independent judiciary. They must be able to enforce the law and follow it, and not do things other than what's right with the case. At the soul of this case appears to be the North Las Vegas's police department's union being upset that Judge Ramsey is not finding and assessing people sufficiently to pay for their department and for the city coffers of North Las Vegas.
So it sounds like it's a money issue.
It is very much a money issue. So in what can only, it appears to me to be just petulance, they've attacked her by trying to recall her, which is a very wrong legal approach. Under the Nevada Constitution, Article 2, the Constitution allows any elected official, any public official, and this is a key point here, public official is the word that the Constitution uses, may be recalled if a percentage of the voters are interested in having a recall election. So you have to gather the signatures. And there's some strict requirements. This is not a casual undertaking. This isn't, you don't recall a public official because he decided to dispute against you or because you don't like the tie he's wearing. A recall is a very serious thing. So you follow and you go through and you follow the rules of the recall. The practical problem here is that's Article 2. The public official, the definition of public officials does not include judges. Judges are specifically, exclusively took care of under Article 6 of the state constitution.
But let me ask you something. Public officials, if technically are not either the elected officials, right?
The word public official means, and I thought I came prepared, but I guess I should have brought my law books as well. The definition of public official, it's in my brief here. That I
Would you like it back?
No,
No, that's fine.
I don't want to read our listeners a legal brief. I think that might be asking a little bit much of everyone's attention span. But public official is defined as everyone except judges, and it says except judges, including, it says municipal judges. You may not recall under the Nevada Constitution an elected judge.
Well,
you can't do it.
That seems to be the bottom line. How could it go past that?
Well, we haven't gotten past that yet. We have a hearing date in front of Judge Johnson, District Court Department 20. He's a new judge. And I believe it's set for the 24th of June. We're trying to get the hearing expedited because it needs to be, by law, it's supposed to be done within 72 hours.
I gotcha. Okay. Well, Ed is on the scene. We're just trying to find a way for him to fit in here.
Accommodating Ed. You met Ed Yulin before?
I believe I've shook hands with him once or twice.
Okay.
Oh, okay, good.
All right. So is he finding another chair? Is that what he's doing?
No, he don't need another chair. He got his chair over there.
Oh, but he brings a chair anyway.
He's a very important person.
Yes, he is.
Use a chair.
Okay. How about his mic? We can't deprive him.
Right behind him.
There you go. Okay. All right. Ed will be verbally joining us in one moment. Get ready to say hello, Ed.
Thank you. This is Ed Yulin. Thank you very much.
I don't think Eddie.
Yes, adjust the camera so we could get Ed's lovely face in there.
I don't think we can get the three of you together.
No.
But you can be like me.
So bring us up to speed.
Incognito.
Bring me up to speed.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We have a hearing set in front of Judge Johnson currently on the 24th of June, and we're asking the judge for ruling specifically that the interpretation of the Constitution is the plain language, and it says that you're not allowed to recall an elected judge. Judges may be removed from the bench by the Judicial Disciplinary Committee, and they have. There's been a number of judges removed, as you know, excuse me, in the last few years, but that's under Article 6 of the Constitution.
I'm glad then it wasn't Judge Nancy off. Then it was listening to the case.
I don't have, not really particularly acquainted with Judge Alf.
No.
I do a lot of criminal courtroom work, not a lot of civil litigation, but some.
Yeah, I'm glad that she's not in charge of that case because it's going to be a conflict of interest. But anyway, go ahead, continue. I gotta be sarcastic once in a while.
I understand.
Don't we know that?
Well, so we've asked Judge Johnson to rule that the state constitution doesn't permit that. There was a case a number of years ago, also out of North Las Vegas Municipal Court. Judge Gary Davis got in trouble and was removed from the bench by the Judicial Disciplinary Committee. If I recall right, that's been a number of years. I don't want to misstate that. But in his case, it says, and the law says, that the exclusive original jurisdiction, that means the only people who can remove a judge from the bench are the Judicial Disciplinary Committee. And you have to basically, it's like if a judge commits a crime, they have to show what they've done wrong. And it's got to be significant, and it's got to show on their fitness and character to be on the bench, which is what the case says. None of the allegations against Judge Ramsey are have anything to do with her
behavior.
When they have nothing to do with her execution of her duties on the bench. This is all they are. This is petulance about the distribution of the administrative assessments over in North Las Vegas Municipal Court, and this is an unprecedented attack on a judge. I've not seen anything like this in my lifetime.
Wow.
And
is that one of the reasons then you decide to take this case?
I believe
You saw the injustice?
Well, here's the fundamental problem. And this should be probably a point of reform in the Nevada legislature next year. But the Nevada gives the municipal courts the money they raise in their fines, which means instead of necessarily a court being about justice and fairness, a court ends up being about raising money to pay for revenue for the city. And as a result, you end up with much higher fines and fees. That's one of the complaints that happened or caught fire in Ferguson. They had a court that was using all the money and fees to...
You're talking about Ferguson, Missouri.
Yeah, they ended up... They did an analysis about how much fine per citizens were coming through that courthouse, and it was a very large number. The funny thing is Las Vegas has even a higher number.
Oh, really?
Both North Las Vegas and Las Vegas municipal courts need to re-look at their fines situations. The average guy in town a couple years ago was making $12 an hour. It's not uncommon to go into court now and get a $400 or $500 traffic ticket. Right. I mean,
imagine. It's
really
outrageous.
Really?
The fines are beyond.
It's beyond belief.
Beyond reason.
Yeah, it's the police and the judicial system been turned into fundraising apparatuses.
It totally wipes away the concept of justice.
I agree with you, and Judge Ramsey agrees with you, and was making the city government toe the line a lot tighter. And wasn't fining. And one of the complaints against Judge Ramsey in this petition was that she, and quote, she was dismissing cases and costing the city revenue. I mean,
no way.
It was. I mean, it's
unbelievable.
It's just naked pilfering.
Blatant greed.
Yeah, but I understand that the reason for that it was because the bench warrants was not signed properly.
Yep.
The city attorney, it was just it was temporary city attorney, and she kind of blackmailed the city by saying, I'm not going to sign these bench warrants if you don't confirm me in the position. I don't know if you are aware of that, but she kind of said, you need to confirm me as a city attorney if you want me to sign those bench warrants. So the city attorney, pro tem or whatever you call that, temporarily city attorney, because the city attorney, the original city attorney, resigned together with the city manager, and they didn't have a city attorney. I don't know if you was aware of that.
Sir, there's a lot of stuff. A lot of things happen in North Las Vegas. I can't keep track of all of it.
I know.
Is that one of them? Or you?
And I tell you one thing, I have not found. I don't know all the lawyers in Las Vegas, but I have not found one yet that disagree with Judge Ramsey.
No, I don't know that anybody would disagree with her. This is an unprecedented attack, political attack, on a judge who will not play ball with the mayor and his cronies.
Okay.
And some of this stuff is, or some of their actions are really reprehensible.
But what he's saying is that she's holding up the city because she's not being appointed permanently.
The city attorney. Pay attention to what I said.
Okay.
Pay attention to my English.
Well,
The city attorney refused to sign the bench warrant.
oh,
Yeah.
the city attorney,
Yes.
not the judge.
No.
The city
not
attorney,
Judge Ramsey.
and so she
Okay.
rejected those bench warrants.
Right, they were stamping it with a guy who was no longer, or putting the name on a guy who was no longer worked for him.
Right.
Yeah,
Really?
Which is a,
which makes it
Well, I didn't know that
Exactly.
part, but
That would
you
be.
know, you want me to explain that to you in Chinese now? Ed?
oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Okay, go ahead, Mr.
Well,
Mueller.
it's I basically already laid it out. I mean, just long and short of it, they're not happy that she's not playing ball with them, and so they want her off the bench. This is not about her performance of her duties as a judge, which have been fine. She's done a very credible job. She's fair, impartial, noticeably compassionate. But
Yeah, you know what thought just popped into my mind? Supposing she did play ball and do exactly what they wanted her to do, and then down the road a little bit, they didn't like her, they would say, you didn't do this according to the law, according to the book.
But it is according to the law. All the judges are doing this.
well, no, there's
Not really.
Wait, let me hear the legal mind.
well, you've got on the most fundamental level, there's a problem because a concept apparently has never taken root in North Las Vegas. That is division of government. The founding fathers, all our founding fathers and documents were very clear. Government can't be trusted. We will maintain freedom only by breaking up power into very limited and discrete blocks. And everyone gets some power, but nobody gets too much power.
Mhm.
Now, in North Las Vegas, a judge is there to administer the law fairly and impartially and follow the law. If the judge doesn't follow the law, then the defendant has, or the aggrieved party has a right to an appeal.
Mhm.
And it's a vigorous and useful right. People appeal all the time. Now, this problem seems to occur systematically in North Las Vegas, again, because they have the judges working as managers of the courthouse and managers of the court personnel and with their own budgets, which is just bizarre to me. A judge is a judge, not a courthouse manager,
Or not a member of the executive.
yeah. Now it appears very clear to me that what they need is professional courthouse management over North Las Vegas, and let the judges be the judges and let someone else run the courthouse. I mean, it's dysfunction or her collateral duties, of divvying up the collected assessments, and that seems to have gotten is the rub here. Now, I don't know, the legislature could fix this by amending the North Las Vegas City Charter or do some other proper organizational management. But as it sits right now, it's as unfair as this is to Judge Ramsey. The same problem is going to happen again in a few more years if they don't have a different system. The idea that you're going to use a judge to
Raise funds.
to pick out who gets to be the marshals, picks out where the money gets spent, who gets bonuses. I mean, it's just fraught with peril.
That's right.
And this case here is now so what we've done here is we've broken the lawsuit up into two separate actions. First off, we were petitioned Judge Johnson for injunctive relief, saying, look, whatever the fight is, this is not the right venue. That's this complaint here. It says that we petitioning the court, and you can see we've had no trouble finding good law to support us. We saying that the Constitution of the state of Nevada says you cannot recall elected judges.
Right.
Okay. The language public official means all elected officials except for judges, and that's exactly what the law says.
Yeah.
It says except for judges. Now, if he grants our relief, which I believe he's properly bound to do, then the case is over with because you can't recall a sitting judge.
Yeah.
Now, if they have legitimate complaints or they have a grievance with Judge Ramsey, there's a judicial discipline committee, and that's that's their mechanism. And they do not, you know, they are a deliberative body, but they do not hesitate to act when a judge is acting inappropriately.
Is that what you think is going to happen?
I don't think there's anything.
There's no doubt because the law is clear about how you go about getting rid of a judge.
If anything happened the opposite way, that is an appellate issue.
Well, if a judge, I don't want to use Judge Ramsey. She's a good judge. I've not seen anything anywhere to indicate that she's done anything wrong. Sufficient, or okay, she's annoyed some people, but you know that's part of being a judge. You're
doing the right thing annoys people. Yeah, that's very true.
Doing, you know, sometimes doing what the right thing, it does annoy people, especially if they've got a vested interest in doing something else.
Exactly.
Nothing I've seen here warrants discipline of any sort. Okay.
So it's no use to talk about it.
Yeah. If a judge, not Judge Ramsey, but if hypothetically a judge is bad, and we've had 3 or 4 of them removed in the last, just see, the 3 that I can recall have been removed recently. You petition the judicial discipline. They have a hearing. They look into the facts and circumstances, and if it is sufficient that the actions are appropriate with the execution of the duties or the concept of well-ordered justice, they get removed. The voters can pick them, but the judicial committee can sack them. And we could digress for a moment on whether we should elect judges, but the reality, I don't favor it. But having said that, that train left the station about 150 years ago. So, okay,
that's a hard train to stop.
Yeah. So now our sister state, Arizona, next door. They're a little, as you all know, a little larger in population and a little further ahead on things than we are, just because they're a bigger state. They used to elect judges, and then the campaigns got just so bad that even the voters like, okay, we got to come up with a different system. They did that. It has been done, but in Nevada, there's absolutely no appetite.
And what's their different system?
They have an appointment system, and the candidates are very rigorously screened and
by
independent commission on people that goes through and
independent commission appointed by who?
Well,
yeah, what kind of people are on that commission?
At a certain point, yes, you're absolutely right. You can always start. You can always find the flaw in every system. But having
by the governor, probably.
All right. So the way we have it in Nevada, anyway, is that when we elect judges, the Judicial Disciplinary Committee is responsible to make sure that they're doing their job properly, and will remove them or discipline them, sometimes publicly, for wrongdoing. So that's the way it's supposed to work in Nevada. The idea that the voters can sack a judge is just offensive to the concept of law. I mean, a judge has to go in there and make hard decisions every day. So say a prominent businessman's kid gets in trouble, all right? And the kid's a nasty kid, you know, maybe he just wasn't raised right or something. So the guy goes in and does something wrong, judge hammers him. Now, do you really want the businessman writing checks to go get that judge recalled? I mean, is that a system that any of us will be proud of in a few years? All right, talk about timidity and a double standard. That would make our legal system significantly worse. And this principle, and this is a very important case and a very deeply principled case. And Judge Ramsey's needs to prevail in this, and we need to make it abundantly clear that judges, once they're picked by the community at an election poll, are free to operate in their, within the law, how they see and apply to the facts of the case. You cannot have a legal system where anytime you piss somebody off, you get sacked. Now that will never work. And this group of people in North Las Vegas really has some serious explaining to do. This is really bad government. This is bad policy. This is bad reasoning. It's bad law. It's bad logic. And with a little bit of luck, hopefully within a few days, we'll have this thing put to bed.
What day is the day for the court?
24th.
24th of June. We've asked the court to schedule it sooner in accordance with the statute that says it's supposed to be done within 3 days. In fairness, Judge Johnson just got the case. It went through 2 or 3 other judges.
He also knew
it a couple days ago.
He's a new judge. I don't know him personally. In fact, I've not even appeared in front of him yet.
He was a federal judge before. And
No.
US attorney.
He was a U.S. attorney.
I mean, I'm sorry. A federal
But you know
attorney.
his wife, then you?
US.
I've appeared in front of her once or twice.
Really?
She was doing mostly civil law, and I do some civil law, but mostly criminal law day in and day out.
Okay.
But he was just appointed a week ago today.
Or just took the bench. So we've left the matter, or sent over a formal request to expedite it, so we might hopefully get the hearing a lot sooner. That's the way it's supposed to be. But when it got bounced through 2 or 3 judges before it landed on his desk.
And why did it get bounced?
Oh, it happens all the time with high-profile cases. If a judge, when I did the stadium case a few months ago, I think we went through 9 judges before one.
Really?
Well,
9 judges.
What kind of excuses do they?
Conflict
Oh, they know the
conflict.
people, or they.
no, sometimes, in fairness to people, most of those judges over there are very fair-minded, and if there's any hint that somebody could reasonably question their bias, you just give the case to somebody else. I mean, and that's just fair. If you and especially here, we all know each other. It's a relatively small community, and though we have 2 million people in the valley, those of us who've been here for more than a few years, we all kind of know each other.
That's right.
Or if we don't know each other, we know of each other. And the reality is some of those judges they pick up a case, and maybe they gave a campaign contribution, or maybe they're a neighbor. You never know exactly why a judge will.
It sounds
No,
like
I
you
tell you,
run out of judges.
I had to go to court one time, and I got 3 judges because they happen to either hear of me or know me or something like that, and I'm a nobody, you know.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
But compared to Josh Ramsey or compared to Sheldon Adelson or Mayor Goodman or anybody like that, I am just a little guy, you know.
Now, what you've outlined here should take care of the case as far as you're concerned. What about taking care of the larger issue of the judicial system being used as a fundraiser for the executive? How can that be stopped?
Well, I've spoken with a couple of acquaintances of mine who served in the legislature, and they all had agreed that the municipal court reform and the way that the courts fund themselves is an issue that should be addressed.
Not just municipal. The Supreme Court went to the legislature and said, we're short on funds because the Nevada Highway Patrol isn't giving enough tickets.
Yes, sir. I would advocate, or we should seriously consider all proceeds from criminal fines going back to the state's general fund. I mean, just so that the state, local courts would have no incentive for these ridiculously high fines. And I'm calling them out. I'm not going to mince words. North Las Vegas has just insanely high fines, and Las Vegas Municipal Court is just insane on how much money they want on a fine.
They're competing with each other.
No, they're trying to raise money.
They're raising money, and there's
on the backs of
it's not
justice.
a competition.
Well, the U.S. Supreme Court has long since said that decades ago, generations ago, that courts cannot be self-funding. They have should go back to the general treasury. And despite the fact that the case law is out there, Nevada just ignores it. There's case law that says courts aren't supposed to self-fund. The money should go back to the general fund, and so that the fees and fines and assessments bear some rationality to what happened. Now, is a speeding ticket worth $500 or $600? Or is it a failure to maintain your travel lane? And those are the level of magnitudes of fines. Now, the average Las Vegan makes about $10 or $12 an hour. So if you do some quick math, that's $480 a week. And yet the city governments are asking for fines of literally a week's worth of labor for fairly minor traffic offenses. And then if you contest it, there's another complaint, and there's another practical problem here, is the city government has decided that you don't get to see an elected judge for a traffic ticket. So the judges.
Oh yeah, that's a new one now. Yeah.
Oh really?
I've got a case challenging that too. You didn't ask me about that one. I could have brought down our brief on that point. My brief's due on the 17th of June, so we'll get that done too. But yeah,
Really?
it's sort of like hey, let's everyone in favor of taking Rolando's car, and we all vote for it, so he loses his car. And now you can't do that. The city council cannot vote to take away your right to a city to the
That's
elected
incredible.
judge, and you have to go in front of the person we're paying.
Yeah,
And
right.
I'm like,
Gosh.
it's. I wish I was making this up.
Oh my God.
It's so incredible.
No, it's really bad.
Yeah.
And on the most broader scale, the issue that seems to bother me the most is this idea of professional government. Now, when I was a kid here, we used to have rolling. I mean, it was pretty raucous elections around here. There were signs everywhere, people would canvass. And as the town's grown, the apathy factor has grown as well. And as you know, we have a large number of people in the valley who seem to be fairly alienated from the political process.
For good reason.
For good reason. For a lot of good reasons. But the reason is why? What caused the change? And I'm convinced that what's caused the change is this rise of professional government. You start at 22 at the government, or you start at 18 in the government.
I've been writing about that for years now.
And then you fall over dead 60 years later working for the government with this enormously
Pension.
these insanely generous
They don't
pensions.
know how to sign a check in the front.
No.
They always sign it in the back.
On the back. And this idea that Nevada now has professional government, when we allowed the public employees to unionize in the early 60s at the county level, it turns out to have been a disaster. Now we have this entrenched, and I mean this, entrenched civil service that's a misnomer, because civil service truly means you're there to serve.
Right.
That's right.
And I'm going to come around to a point here on something. This thing in North Las Vegas disturbs me very greatly, because it is a reflection of a very different idea. In the United States, government serves the people. You go, you serve, you spend your time, you help your community, and then go home. Don't sit there for 30 years being sanctimonious.
Thank you.
Now, here's what's going on. This is a police department who's upset with the judge because she's not finding the community enough.
No, but I need to correct you that I believe it's the police union, not the police department. A lot of police officers have told me that she's a great judge.
Yeah.
In North Las Vegas, I don't know the police in Las Vegas how they feel.
Well, look, we've got a fire department where the guys get paid. I've got a fireman living in $1 million house down the street from me. A fireman. The Clark County School District, don't even get me started with that government union nonsense.
Yeah, but your house is $2 million.
Yeah, I wish.
Well,
No.
really, Rolando.
Come on, Rolando.
Now, here's my point, guys.
Yeah.
On the most basic level, Southern Nevada needs some of the most basic governmental reforms. And I think personally we need to abolish public employee unions. I think they are
Absolutely.
I think
They have no function.
well, no, they have a function and they're doing it too well.
They have
They are
no.
enriching their members at taxpayers' expense. And we've we have evolved in a society of two groups of people. The privileged elite who get hired on by local
That's
government
right.
at 20,
That's right.
get hideously generous benefits, get to retire early. I mean, I want you to understand this. We're taking money away from single working mothers to give it to 55-year-old men who are right-minded, able-bodied, to pay them to do nothing. Now, that's offensive to me. And with these pensions are just, the public employees are out of control. And here, this Catherine Ramsey case is them flexing their muscle. They want the judge to find the community more money to get them benefits, i.e., the community serves the police, not the other way around,
That's right.
or at least the police union.
And that's the case in the whole country.
Let me remind that we are Face the Tribune, and we are talking to attorney Craig Mueller, which is representing Judge Catherine Ramsey, who is suing the city of North Las Vegas for many reasons. With us today, beside Craig Mueller, is Maramis Choufani, like every Friday, and Mr. What's your name? Ed Yulin. Ed Yulin. My name is Rolando Larraz, and this is RadioTribune.com. The name of the show is Face the Tribune. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
They're not. She's not suing for many reasons. She's suing for one basic reason, and that is that the people cannot recall, or a person cannot recall a judge. A petition. You cannot recall a judge through petition. You have to judges have to be removed by the judicial committee.
Right here, I see three different reasons.
Oh, okay.
Control the court, gain control, because the city manager tried to gain control of the court, because the city took court money and now taking staff, and also because the city told the judge what to do. That's three reasons right there.
Yeah,
that can apply to many reasons.
But those three reasons will not be solved by the lawsuit, except no.
The lawsuit is strictly for the.
We're seeking injunctive relief, showing the Constitution.
Right.
Then yesterday we filed a contest to the actual recall effort.
The recall. Yeah.
There's a laundry list of things they've done wrong.
Yeah.
We've went through the signatures. We found someone who signed 11 times.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there's all sorts of shenanigans. It's literally
well, I was wondering
of 8 or 9 fundamentally flawed things with the petition to start with. We filed that lawsuit as well, which is we're required to within 5 days.
There's no fine for the stupidity of signing 11 times.
No, but there is criminal penalties get attached to fraudulent recall efforts, and
that's one of them.
Yes,
there's some real problems here.
Well, that raises an interesting issue. But go ahead with the rest of your idea.
Well, no, I've got a whole laundry list of things that not done right, but I don't want to go there, and I don't want to spend any time on it because they can't do what they're trying to do.
Yeah, right. You're really keyed in on one issue, but you've raised these other issues
because we have to do it within 5 days. The law requires me to do it within 5 days, so I had to do it.
The lawsuit is not going to solve all these other problems that we're talking about. For example, the raising of funds through the judicial system for the operation of government, things like that. But it'll be a step in that direction. And hopefully in the future, something can be done about it. Am I accurate in saying that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So you raised this interesting issue of the petition itself. When citizens do petitions, one of the problems they have in doing the petitions is that if the government doesn't like the petition, they will scrutinize every signature and sometimes void signatures because it doesn't have the full name of the person written, or the way it was written when the person registered to vote, all sorts of technical things. And you're raising an issue where a person went 11 times. Were his 11 signatures approved by the city?
Well, here's what they do, and I don't know the rationale for this procedure, but what they'll do is they will look at the number of signatures that are required. They'll take a random sample of 500 signatures, then they'll validate the 500 signatures, and whatever that percentage rate, they come up with a valid percentage rate, and multiply it by the total signatures submitted, and it passes or it doesn't.
It passes as far as the number of signatures, the threshold number of signatures.
Now, that strikes me as a kind of a flawed system in such a small sample. Now, remember, the last election was pretty lightly had light voter turnout. So in this case, we're only talking about 18 or 1900 signatures. The effort to count them all versus the effort for 500, I don't understand why they just didn't count and verify them all independently. It wasn't that much more work. But when you go through that and you find duplicate signatures, you got people who clearly don't live in North Las Vegas. You know, it's a troubling effort to start with.
How many signatures were required to be gathered?
1900, I believe, was the exact number.
And how many were turned in?
They turned in, I think, 2,300.
Well, that's not enough if you have cases where a person is signed 11 times.
Well, that's
if you have other situations like, and all those people have to have voted in the election.
Well, the case, if it comes to that, and I hope it doesn't. But if we end up having to do that, then that's going to be one of the things we're going to ask the judge for relief on. Is we want them all counted and all verified until they've at least got enough legitimate signatures and verified them, because we went through it, and or at least my staff did, and found some very troubling patterns. Now, I don't particularly, as you can see, there's
Did you go through the 500 signatures that they went through?
Well, they didn't tell us which ones they validated.
Oh my God!
Well,
that's scandalous in itself.
Well, guys, the county electoral voters office, I've had 2 or 3 of these cases recently. I don't have any complaints with them.
That's troubling, though.
Well, no, I don't understand, and no one's ever been able to answer for me on such a small recall effort. Why aren't all the signatures validated?
It seems like such an easy thing. It's like almost automatic, in the computer. Check duplicate signatures.
No, it takes more than a computer.
But for duplicate signatures,
when we did the stadium referendum, and Councilman Beers had to gather the signatures. That was about 7,000 or 9,000. That was like a factor of about 4 or 5 larger than this effort it had to be. So at least then statistical sampling made a little more sense. I mean, okay, that made some sense to me. In such a small effort, I don't know why they didn't go back and validate them all. It really strikes me as kind of just asking for trouble.
Well, it does make you think, if one person signed 11 times, perhaps 20 people signed at least twice or perhaps 3 times.
Well, let me ask you something. North Las Vegas Municipal Court have 2 judges, right?
Yes.
Is Judge Ramsey have the support of the other judge? This is very important because people need to know what judge is in their side or in their favor or on behalf of them.
I don't want to speak for anybody else, and certainly I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Okay, I'm the lawyer. I'm not a social worker. Okay, I don't know. I don't know how everyone else is getting along with who.
Okay. I'm sorry.
But that's a whole different. This is a crucial issue of how recalls are conducted and how they count the ballots. In the case of the stadium, after they had gathered the signatures, the city came up with a ruling they needed 13,000 or something.
Yeah, they
and I mean that is just totally corrupt.
But let me explain something to you, because I know you enjoy to contradict me. You enjoy to contradict me.
You're on a different side.
Okay, guys.
Let me finish.
Rolando's turn.
The other judge is not teaming up with her, that means if they are successful, which I know they're not going to be successful, but if they are, who's the other judge, the people who are making the recall, them, if they are, the other judge they're going to put in there is going to be the same way as the other one, and the citizens are the ones that are going to be screw up.
But the listeners all know that. That's a given. Of course, if they're able to pull one corrupt thing, they'll pull another corrupt thing. I mean, everyone knows that.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead.
So
that's a tough act to follow, guys.
Isn't it?
No, because it's important that the people know.
But I'd like to go into more details because of the 1,900 signatures that are required. That was apparently a quarter of the vote in the city or something.
Yes, sir. For the last general election, yeah, it was.
And so those 1,900 votes that are approved have to all have voted in that election.
Yes, sir. They had to.
And have you checked and seen if all 2,300?
Not personally, no, sir.
So do you have a researcher? Do you have access to those? Because that would be easy to check.
Yes, sir.
That's the first thing that should be checked. Because if they don't have 1,900 people that voted in that election signing that thing, then that's the end of it.
Yes, sir. It's my desire that we don't have to do any of that. I don't want the issue. I think the threshold issue is this is not the right mechanism to remove a judge. I don't believe they can do this.
So you start small.
That's why. Well, you start simple. I mean, there's no sense, and there's this. I mean, I've got a list of 8 or 9 things that we believe that they've done wrong in this petition. And if that
Can we have a copy of it?
No, I brought these copies for you.
Oh, okay.
No, for me.
Those are public files.
You can borrow them, Ed.
Those are the public filings.
He's really not going to walk out with them. I'm sorry.
Those are the public filings. No, I'm not giving you guys anything that's not available on the
Greg,
internet.
I promise you, next time you come over, he will not be.
Oh,
I promise you.
No, that's quite all right.
I'm totally supporting him, and I'm not changing the subject.
No,
All over the place.
The election law chapters on how to conduct a recall, there's a lot of minutia. It's very technical, and there's a lot of, it's a lot of difficult things to go through and pay attention to. I'm hoping that this case gets resolved quickly by the judge ruling that this is not the proper mechanism. And I believe that the judge will. Everything I've researched, we got the Gary Davis case, which is what they call in the legal business controlling authority. It was the same issue presented. And that case said exclusive original jurisdiction to remove a judge is in the Judicial Disciplinary Committee.
Is that included the Elizabeth Harvest?
Well, that's how Elizabeth Halverson was removed.
Halverson,
yes, was by the Judicial Discipline.
Who else? Lately,
Jones was.
Judge Jones was removed. Those are the 3 that I recall.
Yeah.
No,
I didn't hear the third name. Halverson, Jones, and
I thought it was Gary Davis.
Gary Davis, but that's a little.
That's a long time ago.
That's a long time ago,
Yeah,
and
right.
I don't know that I've got the details
That's not recent.
correct. Well, I read the case to support when I was drafting the brief. But so the Judicial Discipline Committee can and will discipline judges. But the problem the public has is you want a fair and impartial judge. You don't want a judge that's in the back pocket of the police department or the city treasurer, and
or the mayor.
Well, now I firmly believe that Nevada, Southern Nevada in particular, needs some very fundamental reform at the municipal level. These local municipal governments are not up to snuff. They don't operate as governments in the United States. They're like
they're in their own little country.
With
their own rules.
That's what Rolando always says.
Well, no, you sign up. I mean, it's almost it's very similar to the mafia. You sign up at 18, 19. You're there for life. And you can't leave till you die. I mean, you go get your pension. You walk out the door and you walk out with a very nice pension.
Yeah.
Unless they want you out.
Unless they want you out, or But so those local governments operate much more like
I never seen an attorney agreeing with me.
Right. So it sounds like they sign on for the benefits, not for public service.
Well, I think over time that's what happens, and I don't know.
It may not start that way.
Well, it may not, but
I would propose something radical. I would pass a law that said nobody can work for a local government for more than 12 years.
That sounds reasonable.
That's what I've been saying all
along.
along.
And you serve, bring your energy, your enthusiasm, your ideas.
There you
and
go.
Then go
12 years.
home. You don't sit there forever.
There you
12
go.
years. That can be a 3-4 year terms or a 6-2 year term.
Well, if we're going to term limit our policymakers up at the legislature and our executive authority officials going to term limit them, I have no reason why
Right.
Now you could make some exceptions. Public school teachers, for example, that's more of
a career. Right.
Maybe police officers in uniform, not the bureaucrats in the metro headquarters. But I think a 12-year term limit on public employment
is generous enough.
Would make our society a much more vigorous and much more
honest, even
progressive society than what we currently have, which is a group of people who seem more inclined to want to defend their privileges than to particularly do anything useful.
Yeah,
well, can you do anything with that idea?
Well, if I guess if I went to the legislature with it, but no government agency, nobody gives up power willingly. If you're going to have to, that would be a hell of a fight.
Exactly. It'd be like canceling their own benefits in the future, wouldn't it be?
Well, I don't know about the legislature. There are already term limits. The Nevada Constitution as I've gotten to middle age and I've thought about things and I've read this kind of stuff.
But another thing,
it's pretty well. It's a generally It's generally the more I see it, the more well thought out document. Yeah, it appears to me to have been.
That's right.
Well, exactly. No, I must confess, as a younger man, I didn't appreciate it, but now that I've really watched it, when the Nevada Constitution is followed, and it frequently is not, but when it is followed, things seem to work out much better. It's a generally pretty well thought out document.
But the term limited should be a term limited, not a musical chair, jumping from the assembly to the Senate, from the Senate to the assembly. Wow. That's one thing that is happening in the Nevada legislature.
That's what helps keep them there for so long. Yeah.
You get some people being a assemblyman and trying to build a consensus from a bunch of people who think they know everything. And trying to get them to build a consensus for the common good is no small skill. So if somebody's got some skills and he did a good job in the legislature, I don't have a problem with him going up to the Senate. That doesn't offend me. But at least it's a different position, and he's had to make a case why he should have that position a second time. The idea that you get to sit for the rest of your life on a PERS pension, and we all know, and PERS of course is not solvent. So eventually, PERS is going to come with a handout and look.
That's right. Well, what about denying it? They're lying to us and denying it. But that's what's going to happen.
PERS is not solvent.
What about people that are not elected, like a city manager, county manager?
Well, that's what he's talking about.
Those are at will. Those are at will employees. City manager doesn't do a good job or has pursuing policies that the elected officials don't like, he's gone. He's a at-will employee.
Or if the new regime comes along.
What I take exception to is this idea that you sign on at 20 or 25 or 26 as a city attorney, and the next thing you know is 25 years later, you're still sitting there. I'm like, really? Can't you move on? It just is. At a certain point, 10 or 12 years, okay, time to go. You need to go do something else. It would make for better.
Right.
It would make for better government.
I do agree.
And it would make for a better society. I just firmly disapprove of the permanent ruling class that we put in place here. By allowing public employees to unionize, which they weren't allowed to. That's new into the 60s.
But what Rolando is pointing out, though, or is bringing up, is the professionalism, career politicians, and that they are able to create a career for themselves just being politicians.
Well,
and jumping around.
There's
my solution to that is no pensions for any elected official.
Well,
if you give them pensions, it encourages careerism.
I don't disagree with you. And for every scoundrel or every 100 scoundrels, there's a good guy comes along like Bob Beers, honest, decent, hardworking, committed to the community, sits down and reads position papers for fun. So he's just and as far as I can tell, hasn't crossed the street to advance himself other than doing things right for the community.
That's true.
Yeah.
So there's counterpoints there. He's of course maybe the exception for the rule. I'd love to see him get in the Senate, by the way. I think he'd be a spectacular.
That's right. That would be fantastic. But he's one that wouldn't be affected or wouldn't mind if he doesn't get a pension from the government.
No.
Right.
That's right.
No, because he's wealthy enough himself,
I don't
know about that. I'm not sure about that.
He's anyhow.
But he's not one that he doesn't have the personality to say, I want a pension.
There's
a lot of these elected officials, they're in there because they want a pension.
There's two reasons why Bob Beer may not be able to get the U.S. Senate that we need for him to get.
No,
Nevadans need Bob Beer in the U.S. Senate. Yeah. But there's two things. He don't take orders from anybody.
No, he does not.
And he need a real campaign manager, not the Mickey Mouse campaign manager that he got now. That is in my personal opinion, and I wrote about that in a paper many times. No, it's true.
And you keep repeating it. Okay.
I know.
It's important to
Okay.
Rolando, so
It's important to repeat so people listen.
If you would like, I can give you Bob's number. You can invite him on your show.
He's been here
He's
many
been here
times.
several
I'm sure.
times.
I got his cell phone number.
Yeah,
Okay.
You know.
So,
But he's not allowed to come to this show
he's not.
because he's campaign manager.
we won't let you come.
Oh,
There you go.
gosh.
Imagine.
Imagine what?
Imagine.
What? You don't think it's true?
I know it's true. I think it's
Oh.
outrageous, though.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
why he
We
said
should
she
have him
said.
here.
You know, because you're friends with her.
No, it doesn't matter who his
Anyway.
campaign manager is. He has lots of ideas that are useful.
Very
to the
good idea.
community, And
And the
it's
people-
ridiculous to
and-
kick
and
him off
listen-
the program
I
because
don't
of his
ki-
campaign manager.
Listen what I said. Listen to what I said.
This is
I said he's not allowed. I love to have Bob Peterson here every week.
Oh,
People
someone-
that listen to this radio show
Okay,
need
now
to
I
hear
understand
what
his
you-
mentality,
Okay,
and
okay.
he's good with the number. He's an accountant, for Christ's sake.
Okay, you're saying he's not allowed by someone else.
No,
I
but,
thought, can I finish my sentence?
Yeah.
I thought you were saying he's not allowed because you won't allow him.
Oh, no. Let's get
No,
back.
that's-
But
Let's-
I'm hoping that
Let's get back to
I'm
our
hoping
guest
that-
here.
I'm hoping that my friend Craig Mueller will talk him into come back to the radio.
Well, we have to
station.
first give him a chance to
Next
speak.
time, I talk to him, I'll extend your invitation.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
So anyway,
So how can we work on these larger issues? For example, the petitions, making sure that petitions are treated equally, not differently
Added,
depending on
fudged.
whether the government supports it or doesn't support it.
Well,
I'm very suspicious that they accepted a petition of 2,400 signatures when they needed 1,900. Usually it should be double the amount.
Mm.
And because they're in a situation like this, there's lots of wrong signatures.
I don't think it's allowed to that, right?
Jump in.
Well, no, the thing about this is because it's a recall election, the Nevada Supreme Court says you have to actually solicit the voters who actually voted.
That's
Mhm.
right.
You
Right.
can't, which is, I'm a little troubled by that decision, but that's a different discussion.
Yeah, I am too.
Okay, but they said that they have to go get the actual voters. So that's a pretty tough call because you got to find a person. You can't just stand at a mall
Mhm.
waiting for people to come
Right.
by.
That's
Right.
right.
You
It's
got to
totally
call
different.
that person. You got to call and leave numbers for them. You got to, meet them at their house. You got to get them to sign.
Right.
So that's a tall order, which was troubling when we were looking at the signatures for the first time.
Mhm.
There's some concerns there. Having said that, hopefully we will get the injunctive relief and the judge will say you can't do this and we're done.
Hope so.
Yeah.
That'll be the end of it.
I hope so.
And what day is that?
That's currently set for the 24th of June.
Okay,
for
a
the
few
judge.
days after Father's Day.
But it could be earlier, right?
We're asking it to be moved up. The statute is election dispute, so it's supposed to be done within 3 days.
Do you think by asking to be moved earlier will upset the judge?
No, it's the law.
That's
Right.
the way things are.
No,
This
Yeah.
is,
I say
it's-
on the beginning of
it's-
the
the
page,
law
petition
says 3 days.
It's 3 days. It's the statute's
Right.
right there, and there's the law and the number I cited. It's not,
I don't.
not like I'm making
It's
it
not-
up.
And you will
It's
let
not
us
asking
know
for
the
a
result
favor.
of this.
Oh, I assure you, the press has been very interested, and I imagine they'll be there.
Yes.
Yeah, but not in her favor.
What's
I
that?
don't know. I thought the
Mm.
coverage. I thought our Reverse Journal's done a very
Yeah, the lady that wrote that the last
the
article
last
was
two
very
articles.
good.
She her
Yes.
name escapes me at the moment, but she,
I don't know her
those
name.
were
but-
very fair articles.
Mhm.
Yeah, she did.
Great.
She did. But anyway, I would like to follow this story. And if you get a chance after the hearing, I would like to bring you back over here and talk a little more. Maybe you can bring Bob Beer with you. And this is Face the Tribune. Craig Mueller, thank you for being here. I know you are a very busy attorney because you are one of the rare ones that are good and straightforward. I'm honored to have you here in my
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure being here.
humble radio station. And
appreciate the work you do on behalf of the First Amendment.
I believe in it. And
We have a vigorous argument now.
Mr. Yulin,
Oh, you remember?
thank you for interrupting our wonderful show today. Maramis, thank you for being here. My name is Rolando Larraz, and I thank you for being here.
Okay.